What up, y'all? I hope you're doing well. It's Wednesday evening. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. We are here for our weekly alchemy message where we go into our process, and it couldn't be a better day. In fact, the cards are like, okay, we're preparing you for tomorrow. This is what we've been working for. So let's get into the reading. From the Wild Unknown alchemy book or alchemy deck, we've got the sap of the moon plant, Succus Lunarii. We've got spring, which is Ver. Never took Latin in high school. Sometimes I wish I did. And then we've got the androgyny or rebus. So sap of the moon, spring, and androgyny. And then under sap of the moon, we've got 3 of cups. Underneath spring, we have 8 of pentacles. And underneath androgyny, we've got Ace of Wands. All right, let's dig in. So underneath sap of the moon, 3 of cups. 3 of cups is celebration, it's get-togethers, it's tomorrow's holiday. It's, literally a card that talks about holidays, but this is about working with people, getting together with groups that, of people that you love and enjoying time together. At least for the sake of this, I think. This is also about, this is warning us that things are going to come up tomorrow and during this week and during being in contact with relatives, friends, old acquaintances, people that are, coming through town. There's going to be things that you're going to be doing and getting together. During this, there are things from the subconscious that have been trying to present themselves into our awareness. And so you might find that they begin coming up during this week, or maybe not begin, but they're going to be coming up during this week. They may come up, in just these quiet memories that begin to surface, and you're like, oh man, they might be like visceral triggers. You may feel, like temper or sadness. It all depends. We all have a mixed bag when it comes to our origin and the village, right? The hero leaves the village and they come back and it's like there's still all of this stuff in the village, even though you've been dealing with these things, on your journey through the forest of the mystic process. So it's like we've been working, and, now it's sort of like the universe is like, put your pencil down and relax for a second. There's not anything that we can force through right now as far as like a realization or getting over something or realizing the depths of something. It's not something we can make happen right now. This is going to be coming to us sort of like in an involuntary way. And it's a matter of us being able to surrender and relax into the process, take our, hands off of everything right now and just relax and be and allow it to come forward on its own, and it will. This isn't something that like someone else is going to tell you. This isn't something that someone else can really counsel you on. This is something that's part of your own unique healing and your own unique journey. So this isn't even something that you can rationalize or intellectualize. This is really something that's going to be coming up from the depths, and it's going to be presenting, and it's probably going to be when you are interacting and socializing over the next, holiday weekend. So just, try to keep things loving, honest, constructive. Whatever comes out, try to be in a builder consciousness rather than a destroyer consciousness. We want to start before we leave the house by putting ourselves in a state of cause consciousness and not effect consciousness, because it will be very easy to be affected. I have been tempted to be affected all day at every turn. It has been a constant struggle to like stay in a state of just pleasantness. I don't know. For no particular reason. It's just so much is coming at everyone right now from so many angles. But also we have been doing this work, so we've been inviting it to come up, which means that we are inviting interactions that will probe these issues. So try to be prepared and think of it from a perspective of, I wanted this. This is an opportunity. I asked for this. This is presenting me exactly what I need to transform, to heal, to get past, to change, to tweak. So again, it's nothing that we're going to have to force. It's like, oh, you don't have to do anything. It'll all be done for you. You'll be plenty triggered. But so just don't try to over rationalize or look for answers. The answers that you're seeking, and even to do with things that you're going to be unpacking after these things happen, they'll come through. They'll come forward. Just it helps to center yourself in prayer at the beginning of the day when you wake up, especially before you go out and you're around people. Pray for grace, pray for insight, pray for self-control so that you can pause when things are coming up and not, pop off reactively. So we're going to be in a cause consciousness, not effect consciousness. We want to be having affinity with the light of the Creator. The Creator is not affected by all the stuff that's going on around. The Creator is like all whole in unity of like all the oneness at all times. So the Creator's never fragmented. The Creator isn't been out of shape and in reaction. So we want to first try to put ourselves there. And then before we contribute, in conversation, ask ourselves, are we in a giver consciousness right now or a taker consciousness? Are we in a creator consciousness or a destroyer consciousness, right? Because it can be very easy to, think that you're being giving and giving everyone a big lesson about your opinion. And even if it is right, it's still like it's not an appropriate, like make sure that you are doing it in a way that's appropriate, because there's different levels and steps of confrontation that are spiritually like kosher. And for starters, the timing has to be right. The person has to be able to receive what you're saying. Are they open to it? What are your intentions? Even if you're well-intentioned, some of the other factors may not be there. So just practice a lot of discernment before you go down any roads or start to, open cans of worms and whatnot. But do pay attention quietly to yourself. What's coming up, because those are the things that you're going to want to unpack later that evening when you get home and you can settle in and get quiet and you can sit down with a journal or something and work on, what was coming up for you and what was coming up from your distant memories and your childhood and how you're seeing how that's relating to the work that you're doing now on yourself and the person that you're trying to become in this moment. Like, how can you apply what you are, like the pieces you're putting together, right? This is a time of embodiment and integration. So literally, it's almost as if we've been training, and now it's like we're gonna be set out onto the scene. We're being what is it called? Presented into society. What is it? Coming out. We're coming out into polite society, and we're gonna be interacting and facing people that maybe not usually in our comfortable bubble, right? And so these are the people that are going to trigger the old patterns to come up. And this is where we're like, okay, I've been practicing for this. How am I going to show up differently, right? And this is a good way to gauge your growth, because a lot of times during this holiday season, like Thanksgiving and Christmas, you're seeing people that you don't see every year. Or you don't see all year long, right? You're also seeing people that aren't necessarily in the cocoon of those who you choose to keep around you at all times. And, you know, it's like some people, you don't have a choice, right? So it's not like you have your curated comfort circle going on. So this is why it's like, okay, this is gold, right? We've been practicing. We've been working hard on ourselves, right? We've been learning so much. And so this is where we start to embody that new consciousness, where we can break the pattern. And it's like you have to stop it, like dominoes, right? Like when dominoes go off, it's like stop it in the middle before it keeps going again and again and again, and you repeat the same experience again and again and again. So right now, it's like we're kind of being told, like, okay, it's like when you've rehearsed and you've rehearsed and you've rehearsed, and it's time to go out and perform. And it's like you're warming up, you're stretching, you can't go through the routine anymore. It's like you're ready. And now it's just like let the chips fall where they may kind of thing. So we're going into Thanksgiving. We've got the spring card here. The spring card talks about being, you know, so caught up in the work of winter that it's like you suddenly look up and you're like, oh my gosh, spring, it's spring. I didn't even realize that I've been working so hard, right? So that's why I'm like, you know, Spirit's sort of like, you've been hard at work. You need to stop and look at your progress. You've missed all the scenery, right? Put your pencil down and get up and look out into the world around you with some awe, you know, because when spring starts blooming, we're just like, oh, wow, how beautiful. Everything's starting to bloom, finally starting to sprout and blossom. And we're seeing new growth, you know, things that were small bushes and trees last year are suddenly, you know, getting a growth spurt. There wasn't any progress obvious, but now it is. Now you can see it. Right? This is our moment. This is where we're going to be able to see our progress and see where we still need to learn and where we still need to work and what still needs a bit of effort. But really, you know, we're getting to the point where it's sort of like Seven of Pentacles card, where you can water your plants, but you can't force them up out of the soil. You can't like force the fruit out of them. It's all in good time. And same with spring. You know, we've done all like so much. We put so much effort in to our change and our healing. But if we keep putting too much effort in, it's going to start doing the opposite, right? So now it's about letting go and still practicing and maintaining our consciousness, but like allowing the bulbs to bloom. It's just going to happen without us forcing it, without our intellect leading every step, right? And it's going to catch us by surprise. It's going to be like, oh my gosh, it's like I've been making so much of an effort, and now it's like things are happening kind of on their own. They're going to finally start happening. You're going to finally start seeing signs of growth and seed sprouting. And there's going to be kind of a flow to it. So the androgynous card is like the androgyny card talks about, it's not simply the integration of the masculine and feminine aspects within. I mean, you know, and that would be, in a very generalized broad strokes, like being able to take that creativity and insight and intuition and apply it, right, in a very playful way without having to have so much logic and reasoning behind everything, but be able to like take action, you know, without second guessing, without needing everything to be so cut and dry, you know, and obvious and logic, and you know, I can't talk. This has been a long day. I'm sorry, but I am having a hard time communicating tonight. The androgyny card also is like, it's this next step in the process where like the internal alchemy is happening, and now it's like there's like this flow starting to come through. So it's like when we're taking shape and we're taking form, but yet we are undefined. And so the more refined we become, it's like the less labels and the less we identify with, the less we're attached to, ironically enough. It's like a paradox. So right now, it's sort of like we're in this newborn state, we're like this lump of clay, and we're like, wow, I'm definitely not who I was. And I'm becoming this new person, but like embrace the fact that like you don't have like you're not holding on to hardcore mindsets about yourself. You're not holding on to all the old assumptions and habits and beliefs and emotional patterns that you used to. So that those things that used to subtly define you to yourself, it's like, oh, okay, those aren't true anymore. So what is true? Wow, this is really great. Like I'm undefined at the moment. Like you know what I mean? Like allow that to be. Don't rush to label yourself. Don't rush to take on labels that others try to put on you. I mean, we are living in a world that loves a diagnosis, right? Because everyone wants to sell you something. Oh, if I can diagnose you, then that means I can give you your cure. I can sell you a pill. I can, you know, have you come back for another appointment. I can get you on this program. You know what I mean? So be very wary of just accepting a label that someone gives you. But also don't do that to yourself either. Keep an open mind. Allow yourself to be newborn and a blank slate, and allow yourself to become all over again. And don't try to control what that is, right? Allow the excitement of life and this new beginning and, you know, this fertile spring-like energy to allow it to spark fun in you and follow your sense of adventure, follow your sense of play, follow your sense of joy, right? I know a lot of us have been in a bit of a malaise, you know, or worse, just like, so, you know, we're having maybe an unexpected rebirth of joy and vigor and motivation and inspiration and excitement again. But we're having this moment where, you know, we've been working on rebirthing this new self all year, right? We've been like giving birth to our new self. So we've been like pushing and like having labor pains and contractions. And so we're exhausted, but we're also the newborn babies coming through. And so enjoy this time. It goes so fast. See, there's still a soft spot in your skull. But I mean, don't rush it through this moment. This is its own moment. And I would say allow this next few weeks, allow winter to play out, and don't be in any hurry to be anything particular or to be anywhere, to become anything. Just let it start happening. And I think we're going to begin seeing things in our life that are going to start sparking here and there and there and there gradually. And then suddenly we're going to be like, oh my gosh, like big things are happening. But this is just this moment of like limbo, and, you know, just roll with it. It's hard for us to do. But I mean, I'm like searching for the right way to articulate this. But it's like, don't just allow yourself not to be so sure about who you are and how you are right now. Like let yourself be a little bit more open-minded about that at the moment, and allow that real, true, authentic self to start coming through. Especially if you're starting down a reflex road that's going to lead you in a negative spiral or some familiar situation. It's like, maybe like put the brakes on and question that. Is that really how I feel now? Do I have to think about this that way? Is this the way I want to approach that? You know, isn't this the same thing we've always done? Question those things, but be more open in the way that the higher self is trying to lead you. And the inner child is going to be working a lot with you this week too. I know mine already has been showing me things that are, you know, still lingering under the surface, that are causing pain, but like it's still having after effects in the, you know, my comings and goings, and I'm seeing the connections, right? And so I challenge you to do the same And I challenge you to keep an open mind as to, who you're being rebirthed to become. And, don't let that take you down a shady road of being open-minded about who you're becoming, but instead make it so that you're surpassing your own expectations. Like, things can be better than you think. You may be way more capable than you think. You may be way better off than you think, right? Give yourself more confidence and more optimism. Yeah, I think seeds are being planted. New passionate feelings are starting to be birthed. Things are fertile. There's fertile, creative, new energy happening right now. It feels like that push. Once a sprout has broken through the seed and it's starting to come up through the soil, it's like we're in that moment of like we've broken the seed, but we haven't peaked up. We haven't broken ground yet, but we're very close. And so now just be at ease inside. You don't have to be like looking over your shoulder. I think a lot of the worst is behind us. I think now it's just these moments of integration. Good luck with the family holidays. Do your best to get through them without anything harsh, or it's like some things like cannot be avoided, and sometimes you do have to tell the truth, but just try to have compassion and mercy, and choose your battles and choose your timing. Yeah, I mean, err on the side of grace, but like, you don't have to act out and fix anything during the holidays. You don't have to like set the record straight or whatever. You don't have to have that big moment, But it is valuable, though, to take note of what's happening, how it's making you feel, what are the memories coming up, what are the narratives in your head that start going, right? That is what you need to pause inside, because you can't control other people around you. In Kabbalah, we are only ever trying to work on ourselves, and the circumstances around us will change if that's what Creator has in store, or Creator may take us into a different situation. But we aren't praying for other people to be better. We're praying, if anything, for us to be strong enough to be tolerant and loving towards everyone. It doesn't mean that you have to allow people to abuse you or to be cruel or take advantage or anything like that. But allowing for their existence on earth is a start, right? And trying not to take them personally, even though, interactions and experiences that you've had may be exactly personal. It's never really to do with you as much as it is each person in their own wounds and in their own place that they are on the path. And doesn't make it less painful always, but sometimes it helps us not to suffer more than we need to. Sometimes things still hurt our feelings a bit, but I think we can take them less. We suffer less when we don't take them personally. When we don't consider that person's outlook or actions is a reflection of us. And, for many of us with like father wounds and mother wounds and, caretaker people who took care of us, some of us have those deep wounds where as a young child, we thought that our caretaker's state of mind or state of mood or their state of consciousness and their behavior because of that was a reflection on us, but it's not. And it wasn't. And they wouldn't tell you that it was either. It's just people are where they are. And, it's difficult to practice presence and awareness, and to do that with, children, especially when you're probably much younger and going up against the pressures of life, like things, no one's perfect, and feelings get hurt and things get handled in ways that they could have been handled better, right? So we're just trying to notice when things come up and they trigger that inner child in us. Oh, we can make those connections. Oh, that's what that's from. Okay, I don't have to do that. I don't want to do that anymore. I'm only doing it because I think I was still feeling insecure from, early childhood patterning, right? Oh, now I can see past this. I can transcend this now. I can choose with my adult heart, mind, and soul to try to become something new now. To try to, you don't even have to become something new because you already are everything. It's just letting go of the layers that built up around your wholeness. And that's all. And then, it's like getting back to our authentic self is like getting in touch with the version of you that didn't have any of the childhood conditioning before you were frightened, before you were guilted or ashamed or embarrassed, before you felt lack, before you felt fear, before you felt doubt, before you felt self-doubt, before you were told you can't do that, or you'll only mess it up, or you're not cut out for this, or there only men do this, or and only women do that. Before you were given this societal conditioning, the innocent child that has no limitations, that has nothing but potential and imagination. What if that version of you got to be an adult without any of the messiness in between? That is the higher self that's within you. That's like, yeah, we can totally do this. That dream that you love, that goal, those talents that you have, like, oh, you have the optimism and the hope that this is possible, like, oh, high hopes, like I can reach higher, right? If you don't have high hopes, you don't reach very far. You can't see very far, right? So that child, the inner child, is directly connected to the authentic self. And the only way to get you connected to both of those individuals within you is to start by healing the child inside of you. And here we go. Happy Thanksgiving. Have a good time. Yeah, it's to get in there and remember the things that happened that started to put those layers in the way of your enthusiasm, of your optimism, of your hopes for yourself, or of those dreams, right? What are you dying to reconnect with? What is your inner child going like, no, it's not over yet. You need this, right? This part of you, it's still alive. Like, what is that? What is that trying to tell you over this weekend? The pain that the child experienced, they will show you that as well. The child will be there to point out the wound. Do your best to quietly cope and not make it everybody else's problem. We don't want to force our therapy and our internal work on everyone. That's how people think of us as obnoxious. So we can't force ourselves on other people, but at some point there may be a good time and place. But that's going to take discernment, and it's going to take timing, and it's going to take others being open, and they're where they are at their leg of the journey. So you could have a conversation with someone and they might not be wanting to have it. They might not see eye to eye with you. They may not think that they made a mistake, or they may not want to change. Just because people are older than us doesn't mean they're more evolved, right? They could be younger than you. It depends on who your baggage is with, but we all have baggage and we all have relatives and we're all going to see them. So, yeah, my ex used to have this fucking Uncle Dennis. That guy is such a piece of shit that I'm just gonna call him Uncle Dennis. And he was Uncle Dennis. And I'm sure he's not going to see this right now, but if he does, that means that my videos are just getting really out there. So that would be actually exciting. But Uncle Dennis, we used to make a game of it because otherwise you would be so offended that you would have to leave this earth. But we would just make a game and we would start a timer. Okay, Uncle Dennis is pulled up. He's walking towards the house. Start the timer when he crosses the threshold. How long is it going to take him to start ragging on Alexis, the transgender person in his life that he talks about constantly and can't let it go? And it's like, this brave soul. This is like the only, like this is their target audience of troll, and like this is why people have a hard time coming out, is like it's Dennis. And all of us wanted to we had so much we wanted to say to Dennis. But the fact is that it's like, do you want to ruin the holiday? Is Dennis going to be receptive? No. He's going to go worse. He's going to go harder. He's going to double down, right? And I've seen Dennis do some of the most offensive things on earth, but Dennis is a free man and he lives in a country with freedom of speech, thank God. And unfortunately that protects the assholes too. So, but again, just think of Uncle Dennis. Don't ruin Thanksgiving because of Uncle Dennis. Just make a little fun game for yourself inside to help you cope with your own special Uncle Dennis. All right, you guys, I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. I hope that insights present themselves in a way that you can still enjoy your day, but also have an amazing opportunity for powerful shifts. And the thing is, it's not just that we have a greater sense of inner peace and fulfillment when we transform these things, but we actually unlock the potential for miracles and manifestations to come through. This is what gives us more affinity with the light of the Creator. And the more affinity we have with the light of the Creator, right? Like attracts like, law of attraction, then we resonate with that light, and then we're in the light and we're in the flow, right? We're in the miracle zone. So while the inner work is unpleasant and it's uncomfortable and it's painful, it gives you quite an edge, and it gives you so much surrounding light of protection and blessing and like kind of like that luck, you know. I was raised not to believe in luck, but there is something like that is like people have favor, they have blessing, and it's something that it's not something you don't have any control over, right? The alchemy that we do, the interchange, the atonement, right? The healing work, that all raises that, it unlocks the light of your spirit, essentially. It's like breaking layers and layers of negative energy that was surrounding your soul and your spirit, and it lets that light out again. So that's what we're doing, and it's very powerful stuff. And if you can embrace the discomfort, if you can embrace the pain, then that is like nuclear. Like it doubles it's like Big Mario. When Mario becomes Super Mario, it's like Super Mario style. So, you know, you can embrace it if you think of it that way. It's like money that earns interest. If you think of that, it's like, okay, I don't like the fact that I can't have my money and I've got to put it away, but it's going to grow, and it's going to grow interest, and it's going to give me wealth that begets wealth, right? And that's the same with our spiritual work. It's compounding, and it gains interest, and it gives us long-term value, and it is the kind of wealth that begets wealth. All right, gather together, grateful, thankfulness. How many more basic bitch signs can we say? Pumpkin time. You guys have a happy Thanksgiving. My favorite food is dressing. What is your favorite Thanksgiving food in the comments? Do you have an Uncle Dennis in your life? Let's build the tea. And let's see, are you worried about any particular challenges for tomorrow? Support group, comments, let's go. Y'all have a good one. Happy Thanksgiving. Ciao.